Your team used models of what we now know about COVID-19, along with other viruses, to create possible scenarios of the pandemic, one which concluded a potential need for social distancing until 2022. Can you explain how you found that?
Absolutely. So there are two ways in which the pandemic ends. One, we eliminate the virus. I think with global spread of the virus, that one is quite unlikely. In the second, pandemic ends because there's sufficient immunity in the population. So with that as a backdrop, we were interested in asking about the impact of social distancing and what happens when we stop a one-time effort. So we are doing social distancing with the idea of flattening the curve and trying to prevent overwhelming our healthcare infrastructure. If we're successful in doing that, we also keep a lot of people susceptible to the infection, so that if we stop social distancing after 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, or what have you, there will still be a pool of people who are susceptible, and we might see, again, a rise in infection, which might prompt us to reinitiate social distancing. Mm-hmm. So keeping in mind that our goal is getting up to population-level immunity in the absence of a vaccine or potentially other types of interventions, what we might see is this kind of on-off intermittent distancing. And to get up to population immunity, again, that endpoint would take until 2022.
And that's predicated on the belief that once you have been infected, you would develop an immunity. Is that correct? Because I mean, I know that hasn't been proven conclusively.
That is correct. We are in this model assuming that infection brings along with it sufficient immune protection to last at least that duration.
So the idea of 2022, that's just how, I mean, you got that date really just by projecting out when enough people would develop what they call herd immunity.
That's right. So what we took as an approach to this is keeping in mind that we're flattening the curve to try to reduce the pressure on the healthcare infrastructure. That what we'd want to do is institute these social distancing measures when it looks like, when we project that we would start to approach what the critical care infrastructure is, that kind of the maximum there, and then we could turn it off as we're starting to see the curve go down. Again, we have this kind of thermostat model where we would titrate to, again, trying to maintain our healthcare infrastructure. When we use that as our goal, we end up projecting these multiple rounds of social distancing that takes us out to 2022.